What's up, you guys? Welcome to my One Piece Hypothetical Showdown video series, and in this video we're going to be discussing two powerful Devil Fruit abilities in the Soru Soru no Mi and the Kage Kage no Mi, and determining which Devil Fruit is stronger. Now, starting off, we have the Kage Kage no Mi that turns its user into a ruler of shadows. The Kage Kage no Mi allows its user to manipulate and control their own shadow, as well as remove, implant, and use the shadows of others. Next off, we have the Soru Soru no Mi that turns its user into a soul human. The Soru Soru no Mi allows the user to manipulate their own soul and the souls of others via extraction of lifespans of other people or implanting portions of souls into animals or objects, creating homies. Now, in the next portion of this video, we're going to be talking about the usage and techniques utilized by both Devil Fruit abilities. Now, starting with the Kage Kage no Mi, we have the first technique being Kage Giri, where the user pulls the victim's shadow from the ground and cuts the shadow from its owner. Now, after this, the user can then choose to implant the shadow within themselves or another person. And the victims of Kage Giri are usually rendered unconscious immediately afterwards and are unable to walk out into the sun, as without their shadows, they will be vaporized. Now, the signature technique that we have seen utilized by Gecko Moria throughout the series is Doppelman. Doppelman is the technique in which the user manipulates their own shadow, creating a mobile and somewhat tangible shadow clone. Now, this shadow clone can fight on the user's behalf and is able to regenerate from most attacks, as well as block and intercept attacks that are meant for the user. Now, a sub-technique of Doppelman is Kage Musha, which is a pseudo means of teleportation in which the user swaps places with their shadow, allowing the user to evade attacks. Another sub-technique that we have seen used is Brick Bat, in which Doppelman transforms and is shaped into a swarm of bats to attack the opponent. Now, because the bats share the same properties as Doppelman, they are difficult to destroy, and the attack itself is not meant to end the fight. It's not meant to critically wound an opponent. It's more so to wear the target down. Another technique that we see used is Kage Kage, which is a technique where the user injects their shadow into the shadow of the target, which allows them to manipulate the shadow and, by association, the target's body. Now, Shadow Asgard is a last resort technique that we have seen used by Gecko Moria on Thriller Bark, and Shadow Asgard is a strong technique where the user augments their strength with the shadows they have managed to acquire by implanting the shadows within themselves, and this technique greatly bolsters their strength, their durability, and it results in them growing to gigantic proportions and gaining increased muscle mass. The most recent technique that we have seen used so far is in Marineford with Tsuno Tokage or Hornblade Shadow, which is where the user's shadow is formed into a spear, or shadows are collected to form into a spear that is projected upwards to impale the target. Next is Soru Soru no Mi. Soru Soru no Mi allows a user to use portions of their own soul to create incarnations, which can act on the user's behalf to extract lifespans from other people, or the user can create powerful homies using their own soul. Now, given the shortage of techniques from Soru Soru no Mi in the manga and anime, we're going to supplement this section using Big Mom's three personal homies, Prometheus, Zeus, and Napoleon. Now, the first technique we see used is Soul Pocus, which is a technique where the user strikes fear into the target. Speaking to the target's soul, the user demands the target either give up their lifespan or give the user what they desire. Now, if the target is afraid of the user, a determined amount of their lifespan is extracted from them, and this renders them immediately unconscious or kills them, depending on the amount of lifespan that is taken. Using Big Mom's special homies to fill in other parts of combat techniques, we have Heavenly Fire, in which Prometheus is hurled at the target, exploding on impact to create large amounts of intense flames, and we have Raite, which the user uses Zeus to coat their hand in lightning before slamming it down onto the target. We also have Napoleon's techniques, where Big Mom uses the Spear of Elbaf, which creates an immense shockwave that completely obliterates anything in the direction of the swing. Weaknesses is the last section before the hypothetical fight scenario, and this is where we will talk about the weaknesses of both Devil Fruits. Starting off with the Kage Kage no Mi, the fruit's power is mainly relative to the amount of shadows on hand, and seawater negates the effects of Kage Kage no Mi, freeing zombies that were implanted with other people's shadows. The user can only fully control shadows that come from people weaker than the user, and freed shadows can be implanted into other people without the Devil Fruit user's permission. Another weakness is that if the user implants too many shadows within themselves, powerful attacks will cause shadows to leak out, weakening the user. Weaknesses as far as Soru Soru no Mi is concerned: Soru Soru no Mi cannot be implanted into people living or dead as far as we know. Also, Soul Pocus requires the target to fear the user for the technique to work. And homies, even if they're directly made from the user's soul, are not fully obedient to the user and maintain independent wills. Now, moving on to the hypothetical fight scenario. In this scenario, we are not going to be using specifically Big Mom and Gecko Moria. The users will be of equal strength, no previous knowledge of others' Devil Fruit abilities, no Shadow Asgard, as this is a 1 versus 1 battle, and Shadow Asgard has a prerequisite of hundreds to thousands of souls to be summoned and gathered beforehand. I imagine the fight would start off with the Soru Soru no Mi user using Soul Pocus in an attempt to take the Kage Kage no Mi user's lifespan. In this hypothetical scenario, being of equal strength and mental willpower, Soul Pocus would fail. The Kage Kage user would in return try to steal the Soru user's shadow using Kagegiri, but this would also fail as the Soru user wouldn't be pinned down long enough for their shadow to be extracted and separated from them. Both users, seeing their opponent is initially stronger than first anticipated, the Kage user will summon Doppelman and the Soru user will summon Prometheus, Zeus, and Napoleon. Prometheus is initially going to be hurled at the Kage user, but is going to be intercepted by Doppelman. As Doppelman is incinerated in the flames of heavenly fire, it will only regenerate and reform. The Kage user has Doppelman transform into brickbats to attack the Soru user, who uses Zeus and performs Raiate to destroy most of the bats within an instant. After several more exchanges, both users get an idea of the other's abilities. Doppelman begins to find itself being overwhelmed fighting both Prometheus and Zeus at the same time while trying to protect the Kage user, and this leaves the Kage user and the Soru users open to enter close combat with one another. Around the later stages of the fight, I would expect both of these users to be exhausted. Doppelman continues to regenerate as Prometheus and Zeus begin to tire. The Kage user then calls back Doppelman and uses Kage Kakume to try and gain control of the Soru user's body. And as the Kage user orders Doppelman to twist and contort the Soru user's shadow, causing their actual body to bend and twist in immense pain, I would imagine Prometheus and Zeus will look on in horror, being unable to do anything to stop Doppelman from causing this pain to the Soru user. However, given both of these individuals are of equal willpower and equal physical strength, I would assume there is a possibility, although it's not stated in the anime or manga, I would assume that there is a possibility with enough willpower, the user might be able to resist Kage Kakume. So in this scenario, the Soru user begins to resist Kage Kakume. Napoleon enters into sword form and then flies at the Kage user, causing Doppelman to immediately return, releasing the Soru user. As Doppelman manages to block the attack from Napoleon, we see Napoleon fly back to the Soru user. The Soru user and Napoleon begin to rapidly hack and slash at Doppelman and finish the combo using Ikoku, which immediately vaporizes Doppelman and hits the Kage user, critically injuring them and knocking them to the ground. As the Soru user raises Napoleon to deliver the killing blow, the Kage user swaps places with Doppelman, who is then impaled by Napoleon. Napoleon, too late, warns the Soru user of the danger, as the Soru user is then impaled by Tsuno Tokage and kills the Soru user, ending the battle. I believe the Kage Kage no Mi to be the superior Devil Fruit in this situation. There are several factors I didn't include: whether homies had shadows that can be taken, and whether shadows, i.e. Doppelman, have souls or lifespans. Not including Shadow Asgard, Black Box, Hockey, and new homies that can be created during the battle, as well as a zombie army, salt, and seawater. The main factor, in my opinion, that tipped the fight toward the Kage user is the fact that Doppelman isn't a living being. It doesn't tire, it doesn't feel pain, and it is completely loyal to the Kage Kage no Mi user. Whereas Zeus and Prometheus can feel pain, they can get hungry, they do get tired, and they have their own independent wills. We see this when Zeus turns against Big Mom in favor of thunderclouds from Nami. Soul Pocus and Kage Kage are both fight enders in their own right. However, Soul Pocus relies on fear to work, and given in the hypothetical scenario where both fighters are equally strong physically and have an equal amount of mental willpower, there would be no reason to fear the Soru user. Also, Kage Kage requires a lot of time and an opening to utilize, which wouldn't be likely in a fight between high-level combatants. Suno Tokage isn't a fight ender in itself, but more of a surprise attack that can finish off an already exhausted opponent, and Kage Musha basically makes the Kage user hard to hit. Now, I'm ending this video with the disclaimer that we haven't seen all of Big Mom's Soru Soru no Mi abilities, and we haven't seen any new abilities or applications from Gecko Moria, so the outcome is subject to change in the future. This is VM, and if you liked the video, like, comment, share, subscribe. Also, go a little bit easy on me, you guys. This is my first hypothetical battle, and this is my first time making a script and making a video and putting this all together for it. So what do you guys think? What are some tips that you would have for me to creating these One Piece versus battles in the future? Bye.